So, guys, I'm just waiting for YouTube just to confirm that this is actually working. Just a second. Yeah, I think we are on, and there is, yeah, let's see. Yeah, all good. I can see. So, welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 36. And I love it how it's like just counting, like we're getting it there
Oh,
as well. So,
3 and 6, number 9.
pardon?
3 and 6 makes 9.
Which
And
means in
9
numerology.
that, I guess if you want to talk about anything numerology or even spiritual, 9 is that you've reached that point of there's been an understanding. There's there's a sort of elevation. There's a higher purpose. Which is quite interesting to what we're going to talk about today, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Understanding, elevation, and
Yeah.
it's interesting, like our, little chat before, we're trying to make it shorter, our little chat before the coming live for you guys. We were talking about how to be authentic even when we disagree, and without taking parts and saying like, you're wrong and I'm right because you do something different. Yeah, on the last episode, on, like, for us it was yesterday, for example, but if you haven't watched the episode 35, we did speak about routines, but towards the end, if you watch the episode, we were talking about like different diets, like different ways of eating, and especially like plant-based diet is growing a lot. And I was looking at some statistics and I mentioned some of this as well, but like in America, for example, it used to be about 1% of the population or less that would declare themselves vegans, and now from this year is about 6%, so it's exponentially growing that. um, but with that as well, without saying right or wrong, there are authentic sides. The person who chooses to go on a plant-based diet, because of the ethics behind it, because of the the effect in global warming, into how animals are treated and so on. And there are the people that actually, from me, what's coming up is like the people that you have, the people that don't know about it, and then we enter into an argument about it, like where the feeling is completely different. And and then we want to expand this not just for the food, or a different idea, but it could be even a religion idea. Do you see what I mean? This is this is the right way, this is the path to heaven, this is the right way that you should be living, and so on. And there will be different ways of looking at it. No, this is the right way, this is the path. And I feel this is a topic that is very close to my heart, because it's something that I shared here in some of the episodes as well. I was brought up into a family which had two different belief systems, like the Protestant, my dad's family, it was pretty much the whole family Protestant, background. And then my mom's family was pretty much all Catholic, background as well. And if and like being in England and everything else, how much that create conflict along the years as well, between like, this is the right way, this is the right way. And then like you have a king or a queen that is Catholic, and then you have, Protestants. We know what's happening in Northern Ireland and everything else throughout the years. And I feel we're always gonna get to a point where there will be, both sides feel authentic in terms of the reasons what they want, and then sometimes we can clash in the middle. But how can we take this to our life on even day-to-day things? Could be like, for example, we're talking with Amanda today about a work that they might have a set of values, a set of things that they feel it's the right way to treat people, to treat customers, and so on. And you might have a different set of values because you were brought up in a different way, you have a different. And then what to do then? Do you see what I mean on that situation? Do I still engaging in this, company, corporation, in this way, organization, or do I step out? And when is the right time? Do you see, when is it that you can listen to your heart and, what, actually, my time here was valuable, I can see a lot, I learned a lot, but now I'm ready to move on, to create maybe my own with those sets of values, or maybe join another company that I know I will have another, period of time, and I'm going to learn a lot, but it's kind of closer to what I feel authentic to. So
Yeah.
that's my little intro.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Junior. And hi, everybody that's here with us. And we're just saying part of our alchemy chat is, I know there's a lot of knowledge out there and there's a lot of information. And why we do this is because we really try and share authentically, things we're experiencing and how we're bringing it into our lives as well, and sharing, trying to be really authentic in the alchemy that's going on within us, and sharing that with you, and different things that we use and understandings and different knowledge, and then integrating and embodying it. And we're saying that it's always about how you're feeling about something and where you are with something and what's your intention behind it. And what do I want to bring to this, whether it's a work situation or a social club or something, maybe an organization that you're part of. And we're always learning about ourselves and who we are and what our values are. And as we remember more and more of who we really are, and I'm very honest here now, where I say for me, it's me remembering the divine light that I am, that I come from, the divine mother, divine father. But there's layers to this that I also want to bring this into my life where, things I'm doing are authentic, and I don't always have to say those words, but that's what I'm wanting to bring into something. And it's always, sometimes it can be a bit of a process, can't it, where my intention was to join this company. Maybe I really believe in brewing beer. So I love beer. I think it's a social thing. I like the science behind it. I like the history. I like the culture. And I'm going to go and work for a brewery that brews their own beers. It's a local company. They have their own local pub. They use their own local, grain. Really like that. I like the community feel. They use solar power. It's environmentally friendly. I love that. But maybe after time of working there might maybe some ethics. We talked before about how an organization can develop almost its own consciousness. And it might be that you've gone there and said, gosh, I was quite surprised. Maybe the boss, it was more about the money than I originally seen. Or there's quite a lot of office politics going on within this really good ethic. And, I don't, for me, gossiping isn't how I want to be. So, I didn't sit there and say, you shouldn't gossip. But maybe there were times I felt I could challenge somebody and say, well, I'm sorry you've had that experience with that person, but hey, I really like them. And have you asked them about it? Sometimes you can challenge people. It's not about making someone or shaming anybody, but sometimes you can call things. And it might be over time, you might feel you can communicate with the bosses and say, I came because I really like that community feel. It was the environment, bringing people together. I like the history, the culture. And I found out that, maybe we do get grain from another country sometimes because it's cheaper. And maybe I get that, but is this the profit then? So it's that we're always on a journey and a process with where we are. And some things can be our core values, and some things we can sort of say, well, that didn't really call to me. And it's being authentic, isn't it, with how we are and how something is. And it's always about how something makes us feel before we go to, that external thing, isn't it, of, well, I wanted to work in a company that was very community based and non-profit making. It turns out we are, and you've made me feel bad because I came to work for you, and now I feel really bad because I'm having to have a conversation I don't want. And it's being able to say, right, okay, all right, this thing's coming up that maybe this is allowing me to really see what are my core values, what is my intention behind working here. I mean, of course, there's things that we can, let go. We're not saying about this perfection or, you've got to be perfect. There can be some 10-20% that you're like, do you know what, they're doing their best. And I can see why they had to get grain from the country because it was too expensive here for a time. So, and maybe they're honest. I had to put a sign up saying, hey guys, temporarily we're having to get Graham to brew the beers because of cost, and we just wanted to be honest about that. And if that is that person's intention, they'll be able to share that. But if they are secretly being more profit based, and we're not saying there's anything wrong in that, but it's how authentic is that owner of the company being? Am I pretending to be very community based? I like the label, but I'm not actually doing it. So if someone challenges me, I could get a little bit defensive maybe, because you may be calling me out on something that, and so it's not about making somebody wrong. It's about actually, where am I? And we can ask for guidance. It's all about us going within, checking in with yourself. What did that feel like when I was told, we were talking about customer service, weren't we? And I was saying there was a friend of mine had a really positive experience. They'd gone to somewhere to eat for Christmas dinner as a new owner, and it wasn't great. They kind of got it quite wrong. The service wasn't great. They mixed up on the food. They took too many people in. It was too crowded. Anyway, so this person contacted them and said, hey, it was not a great Christmas Day experience. But the way that the owner handled it, I thought was really quite beautiful, because he just said, I am so sorry. We know we've had some experience, but please, I am genuinely sorry that we caused you to we didn't live up to our promise, and I'm really sorry about that. So please come in. We'd love to get your feedback. Please come and have a free meal on us, because our genuine intention is to create a really great community-based pub that the community can come together and enjoy. And it's not about, it wasn't him saying, well, I've come from London and this is my ideas and you've got to fit in. I just thought that was really nice, the way he just sort of said, but it was his genuine, I am so sorry, because I promised you would come to us and have this great Christmas Day family experience, and you didn't. And I'm going to hold my hand up and say, I'm really sorry. What can we do to make this right? I want to learn. And I thought that was really quite beautiful. And that's what we're kind of wanting to talk about today. It's that thing of not making the outside right or wrong. Just, is this a fit for me? Is it what it said it would be? As I'm remembering more and more of who I am and who my core values are, how do I want to be in this world? What is authentic for me? And also that self-mastery, that thing of, no, this really does matter to me. And actually what might be stopping me from stepping into, is it what people might think of me? Do I get a certain amount of status by staying in that company because it sounds great? And what happens if I step away from that? And it's that authenticity, isn't it? So everything's always happening to bring into the light what we're ready to see that might be sabotaging us, or it might be an egoic need of something outside of ourselves. And it's never about blaming or shaming ourselves. It might be that you say, gosh, I may be carried on with something because to the outside world, I think it looked good. Whether it's a relationship or anything, I will share this as well. I'm sorry, Gina, if I'm really dominating this. I apologize about that, but something happened to me with my ego. I've got a really nice little BMW i3, and it's 100% electricity with a range extender, and it really speaks to me. I love Mother Earth, and it's great. And it's the nicest car I've ever driven. I'm so blessed to drive it. I love it. And we get a lot of cool car, this sort of stuff. I think, that's great. But for me, I love the eco side of it. Renewable energy, electricity to charge it. It's great. But we brought my daughter this little tiny run around because it's got gears. She's learning to drive. Cheap as chip. Doesn't matter if she knocks it. It's cheap insurance. So bombing about, I thought, well, I'm going to drive to school to pick her up in this. And it really surprised me because a little ego popped up and went, oh, what you normally pull up in the car, and what will happen if you don't pull up in a nice car? And it genuinely sort of like, God, wow, and I'm not trying to say I think I'm some perfect spiritual person, but I had to be with that. I'm like, gosh, I'm so sorry that you feel you're so less than, that your only value is the car you show up in. And bless you, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm so sorry you forgot who you are. And I hand this over, and you're safe. You really are safe in who you are. Look, nothing's happening around you. Being in a what someone could call a status car or a clapped out little banger that your daughter's learning to drive in. And it was a real beautiful moment for me to go, God, how wonderful that I've managed to heal something within me that I, hand on heart, I was not conscious that was going on. And I was really blessed for that. And there was, and I felt like a light, more of a lightness come in of, thank you, life, for showing me that. And I handed it over. And then as that got released, the newness came in of, gosh, yeah, more of a confirmation of, I'm absolutely valuable who I am, no matter what I'm seemingly doing, having. And that's what our alchemy chat is. We're just really wanting to share, not just giving a load of knowledge at you, and this is what you should be doing. It's kind of integrating it and embodying it as well. And sometimes it can be challenging as well when, God, I thought this thing was a fit and don't know if it is. So I'm just going to be with something a bit and ask for help, ask for guidance. What's my intention behind this relationship, this job, this external thing? What am I wanting to bring into this? And it's not the perfection thing, not about, because we're saying that, of course, you let things, we have our relationships where, we let stuff go, it's fine. But there might be stuff that you're going, hey, that's a core value for me. And I really value honesty. And hey, that's a core value for me. So I don't mind if you smoke, because you want to smoke, that's up to you, hey, and it's knowing, it's being authentic, isn't it, with our intention, what we want to bring into this world and how we want to be in this world.
I love what you share there, like, Amanda, because I know that there are different stories within what we spoke today. For example, the idea that, yeah, I'm working for this company with this ethos, or, the idea with like, oh, how do I feel with the situation? For example, if I'm always driving a nice car and then I come into a car that doesn't look as good, for example, and how our ego, and I think you've done a nice association there as well, because are we staying on this company because of the status that I'm getting, or am I staying in this relationship because of what people think about it, which is like from our ego to protect the way that we look and so on? Am I keeping driving this car because of the way people, look at me, even when I, potentially don't have the aims to, or I don't, and I'm not saying, that you don't have anything else, but they are like, I know that this was as part of me. Like, I'm wearing this because this is what it would look in a certain way outside, or I'm driving this because that's how, would look in a certain way. I'm working in this company because then there is you can feel that ego inflating as well. And I remember when I made my decision to leave the bank, for example, when I was in Brazil and working, and there is a lot of involved into that kind of environment, because if you go to the bank and then actually you have to wear a suit, you have to wear a tie every single morning and everything else, you're building up a image, a identity with that. And then when I decided to give up on everything, it's kind of like, oh, wow, what people think about you, because you have all this career, you've been there for X amount of years, but it wasn't resonating anymore as much as I was excited at the beginning. And this doesn't mean, for example, that what the bank does is wrong or what I've chosen to do is right. It's just different sets of beliefs. And at one point, it did match, because that was, it was exciting. It was, at the beginning of that relationship felt really good. And it's just like how we evolve, we learn things, and then we make different choices. And suddenly that, corporation, that relationship doesn't feel like matching anymore. Like I love the example that you gave, for example, with smoking. It might be that you are with someone and you both smoke, and then you decide to stop smoking, and smoking now it becomes like something that is not part of you anymore. And continuing with someone who has a different set of beliefs now can become an issue. It's not needed to be, but then it's like, it's actually you smoking inside of the house, and then you kind of like and not allowing the person to actually have their own space as well, because you use both, let's say both of you used to smoke inside, it used to be fine. Now you learn something, you change your mind, and then now we're like, okay, so you can't smoke inside of the house, you can't smoke and then come back home, you have to have a shower, you have to do this. So you're pressuring out, someone that might not be ready to change because you have changed in
Yeah.
that sense.
And you don't want to force, that's when there becomes a need, isn't it? So, well, I love you and I need to be with you. So, I've stopped smoking now, and I want you to stop smoking too, because then we can stay together, and that means you love me. And I remember working, it's a really good point about smoking. I remember working with somebody, who I clinical hypnotherapy, I want to stop smoking. And we looked at, they knew all the reasons. It's bad for me, it's expensive. But the main thing is, my family and friends want me to because they're worried about my health. But when we looked at actually in that person's heart why they smoke, um, it actually came up, and it was a real relief for this person to say, I get all that, I really do. But actually, I love it. And they said, I'm on a journey with that, but you could feel the relief in them of saying, for me, it's time out. For me, I go, and they said, I know as I'm saying this, I know I'm on a process with this, but he said the reason I'm probably holding on is because I'm being forced to stop. It doesn't feel like it's my will yet. I'm still on a process. So he knew smoking wasn't good for him. He knew it was a lot of money. He knew all that. But it was this expectation of, you need to stop. You ought to stop. You should stop. We expect you to stop. You are obligated to stop. And he realized that's what he kept buffering up against. It was, I'm being forced to do something. I'm not quite ready. And it was, yeah. And that was the journey to say, actually, if I'm not doing what people around me say I should be doing, what's my value here? Can I do something you don't agree with? And actually, if I say I'm really not ready yet to give up smoking, I'm aiming to that. And he knew he wanted to, but it was this, you should, you ought to, expect you to, you're obligated. If you don't stop smoking, it means you don't love me. He was getting, a lot of grief about it. He was saying, well, you can't come to the social gathering because none of us smoke. And he was like, God, I'm the same guy. And he was a really lovely guy. Do you know what I mean? He was a really lovely chap. And it was like, I'm being sort of told to do something, and it's changing their perception of me because I smoke. It's not making me a bad person. And it was a real beautiful journey for them in actually what was stopping him from stopping smoking.
Yeah, it's interesting, like because again, just going back to what we're speaking about here, I feel, yeah, what would you decide here is like, how can you, do you see, are you going to be allowing that company to change, or that, when I'm saying like the company of the person that you're going to be around, for example, or the ethos of the company that you're doing, or you stepping out of it? Do you see that's kind of something that we get to choosing there? My mom, like, if we carry on with a similar thing, she used to live with a friend, and her friend used to smoke a lot, to the point where she was like making a decision, and it was a lovely guy, and one of the loveliest person to my mom, and they had an awesome time. But the smoke, the smell, the how clothes would feel and everything else in the house got to a point where it was great while we lived together for this period of time, but now I get to choose something different. Do you see what I mean? I'm changing, taking my decision. We still being friends, we still, kind of hang out from time to time, but we can't live together because we have a set of different values that are not, and I'm not asking you to change. Do you see what I mean? But I'm taking my power back, and I'm taking a decision of what to do. Yeah.
I think that the real power is knowing that the free will is knowing that we're divine beings, and no one ultimately ever takes out that's the sort of illusion of when we forget who we are, that we think somebody has power over us. And actually, what is the fear of someone saying to somebody, you know, I think you're amazing, but I've got to be honest, I can't be with someone I don't want to be with someone who's smoking. So I totally respect you smoke. And it's that fear, oh God, well, what if that person in it? And it's knowing, isn't it, when a fear comes in of what's really going on behind this situation. And it's, for me, it's always beautiful, as I know that even when something uncomfortable comes up, there's always a beautiful teaching, understanding, there's a beautiful liberation that's about to happen. There's more of who I really am coming up. So you start to not be afraid of when challenges seem to come up in your life, where you kind of go, okay, yeah, because sometimes things is a process. Sometimes you have to try things on to see, you know, you can kind of bring your own thing to it, and then you go, do you know what? I don't think we're a match. But God, what a beautiful time we had together. Thank you so much, because you've helped me to remember more of who I am, what my authentic value is, without making anybody wrong. And you've helped me to release some fears I had around maybe me not being enough with who I am, or I don't fit in with who I am. And it's, you realize, yeah, and you can ask for help with that. Yeah, help me to see the truth in this situation. Help me to see what my true intention is. If there's anything that needs to be healed, please help me to heal this within me, because what's my core intention? Yeah, um, to be that sort of authentic, truthful light that takes courage and strength to be that as well. So sometimes you might say, you know, please give me the strength to be my truthful me and my values. And I think there's a real beauty in that. But what we're saying is sometimes there can be a process. So it's not just, oh, I don't know, it's not fit, I'm off. You know, it's that, okay, I was going to be with this and feel it. And what does this feel like now? And it can be any part of our lives, even things that, I know friends that are medics and they've gone to work in more charity-based organizations, and they've said in the end it wasn't a match, and they've gone on to work elsewhere. But they're still medics, but the organization they work for, you know, they've ended up finding somewhere that they were with people that, you know, God, yeah, we really feel this was like a match. And I'm not saying it's not challenging still, but it, in my core value and who I am, my intentions behind this is a match. This feels like a match at this moment. And I'm open to, if it's not, I can, you know, I can go where I need to be.
And I feel exactly like as you said, like Amanda, because it might be, you know, a match now, and it's a match for now, do you see? And that discomfort, that, you know, kind of let's say not alignment with the company, the person that you're with as well. When that starts to happen, it's just about paying attention, and we all have a limit of where we're going to take an action from there. So there are people that will resist that up until the moment where there isn't a disagreement, for example, or there is a point where, you know what, it doesn't feel good to be here anymore, and I'm taking a step away, and so on. Or it might be that you have a conversation and things start to change and so on, but you come out of that discomfort or that challenge with so much more clarity of, okay, and now I know this type of, you know, organizations, I will double check, you know what I mean, if it matches some of these values. Or if I'm going to be dating someone, okay, one of them must be in there is like, you're not smoking, for example, because I don't have to have that, you know, issue. I want you to be you, and I can be myself with, you know, and we have a similar set of values as well. So those, I kind of, I think as life passes by, and as we, you know, go through our own challenges and so on, clarity becomes, even more clearer and set down into values that you were like, this is very important to me now. Do you see? If I'm going to work with a company that actually have a strong ethos towards the environment and so on, I will investigate. I will find out. Do you see what I mean? And if I find out that something doesn't resonate, I don't need to go with that company. Do you see what I
There's
mean?
a
Yeah.
real wisdom in that, isn't there? There's a real wisdom in, I want to work with an environmental company, so I went and worked there, and you're like, but wisdom is, isn't it? Wisdom is that thing of, yeah, there's a real intelligence here, so I might just explore this a little bit more. I'm going to invest, as you said, that's wisdom, isn't it? Where I know myself, I know what matters to me. So the wise thing is, I'm just going to investigate, I'm going to read up, check this out. Yeah. Yeah. What that naivety? Because I remember having somebody said, oh, I only want spiritual friends or spiritual partners. And we were sort of with that. But one of my best friends, she's not spiritual at all. But we have the same moral ethics, the same code, but we're not, the label isn't there. And it's like you were saying, isn't it? It's that thing of take the labels off anything. And the naivety is, well, there's a label here, so, oh, we're a match. But the wisdom there is, yeah, I'm just going to explore this a bit and take my time. I'm not going to assume just because I've seen something or read something, what does this actually feel like for me? The wise thing is environmental issues really matter to me. So I'm quite passionate in a loving, peaceful way. So I am going to read up on this company. Are they matching what they're projecting out to the world? Underneath that, are they a match for that? Are they authentic in that?
Amazing. I think we can, ended up there with our episode for today. So, guys, I know we tap in quite a few different topics. I mean, along the way with different stories, but the core essence of what we discussed today is like, okay, when is it that you can? What's that limit for you? Do you see? When is it that you can take a decision from an authentic place where you feel aligned? I'm stepping out of this relationship, or I'm stepping out of this company, or you know, I will change this relationship with this person rather than being living together, for example. We're going to be, in different places. And we might have a set of values that might not match, do you see what I mean, to be living together, but we have other sets of values that are amazing in a different way, and so on. So what is the decisions, and how can we be authentic to ourselves, but without forcing it into the other person or into the other company and so on, saying you're wrong, Jesus, I mean, or I'm right, or you're right or wrong. It's just like, okay, what is it that I'm deciding that feels aligned to me, that I'm taking the step moving forward? And I hope, I mean, I'm not wishing, that you take that decision, but it may be helping you to actually make that decision a bit easier, do you see, for yourself. So after this episode, if that made it a little bit easier, we're happy for that as well. So it's good.
And I think I will say, you're not on your own with this. You're not on your own. Go into, if there's something you don't know, so you can have some support with this. Ask for that support and help and guidance. I'm going to hand this over to you. I'm not on my own with this. And I think the ego forgets that, doesn't it? Thinks, I'm on my own with this. I've got to sort this out. It's when we remember, oh yeah, oh God, yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah, I've got these huge resources available to me. So yeah, I'm gonna ask for help with this.
And when we say ask, I mean, it can mean all sorts of things for you as well. So you can, as we spoke in some of the episodes, you can ask literally for another person, for example, to a friend, but you can ask to your inner power, to God, to source, to the universe, however you want to. And that clarity will come true as well. It's like whichever you believe on, even if it's your inner, voice or inner sense. For me, it was always this kind of feeling of voice whenever I took a decision. Do you see? Like it was from my heart. For example, when I decided to leave, my country, Brazil, and leave, the bank and everything else, I knew it was the right thing to do. Even though I didn't know what would be next, there
Wow.
was a sense of, I know this is the end. This is the end of.
I can hear the trust and faith you have in that as well. It overrode everything, didn't it? I can imagine how scary that must have been to do. That took a huge, but you had trust and faith, didn't you, in your heart? Like I trust my heart, so really scary, massive. But you had faith, didn't you, in that part of you?
So it's, yeah, you will know that. I mean, yeah, and it's just connecting to yourself, to who you really are, to, yeah, soul, spirit, God, however you know, the voice inside of you, your heart, however you call it, you can ask for help in that way as well. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for another beautiful episode as well. And as always, let us know if you like this episode. Just, you know, put a thumbs up. If there is anything that, guys, it was too confusing for me, just, and then you want to put a comment down there, yes, just put a comment. If you have any suggestions of like how we can take this, you know, moving forward, let's make it like as a community as well. Use the comments. If you disagree with something, like I didn't agree with this as well, you know, we're open to, you know, listen to you as well. And if this kind of chats and this kind of conversations is something that you would love to get more of it as well, then just remember to subscribe and put that bell button to know when we put the next one as well. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. Lots of love. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.